Today I'm here to talk about money. I'm here to talk about agile money. Yes, l'argent. Let's talk about l'argent. Today we're going to be answering the most asked interview question. What are your salary expectations? You all know this is a very sensitive question. So yes, I'm here today to share my thoughts and my guidance on how to give a perfect answer to this question. For those who don't know me, my name is Karen Fomafung, your Agile Evangelist, and welcome back to my channel. In this channel, we talk about Agile product development, project management, the different Agile frameworks, and share little tips, break down stuff on how to win in this Agile space. If you're looking to learn more about the services that we offer, please feel free to visit our website. If you go to the description box, you will find our contact information. Visit our website and learn more about our programs, and feel free to reach out to us if you are interested in any of our Agile training, mentoring, coaching, one-on-one programs. If this is your first time here, you're welcome. Please feel free to share so that others can learn. And as we go through what we want to talk about, if you have any thoughts or anything to contribute, this is a perfect space where you're contributing and no one is judging you. All you have to do is leverage that comment section and drop your thoughts in. Let's go from there. Well, now let's get started. How do you address this interview question? What are your salary expectations? Well, I have a really cool formula for you and I hope you find value in it. The very first thing you want to understand is that as an employee or a candidate looking for a role, your confidence is everything. Confidence is what will either make or break you. And it's the same for this particular question. The way you approach speaking about your salary expectations, that's what will set that tone, that tone on how valuable you are or what your worth is, and if you even understand your true worth. I have always struggled to understand why this topic, talking about money in an interview, is such a sensitive topic. Because, just to be honest here, nobody is going to an interview to get the job to work for free. So I've always struggled to understand why this is such a sensitive topic to talk about in an interview. Again, which is why I think most people, when it comes to talking about this, they either shy away from the topic or their confidence will just be shaky or dropping. Well, I'm here to say that if you want to win in this thing, because the whole thing is really a game, if you want to win in this, your confidence is the first tool that you have to leverage. Speaking to an interviewer confidently, when it gets to this question, already set that tone. They will know that, okay, this person is sure of themselves. They are sure of their skills. They are confident in their skills. And that already will give you a leverage to, negotiate, and they will want to work with you around that. And not just that, you confidently speaking about your salary expectations also will help these people understand that, okay, this person is experienced, this person is capable, so this person may be able to deliver the result, and yes, this person may be a perfect fit for the role that we are interviewing for, so that again, it just works out for you. Your confidence can only work out for you. So your very number one tool, again, is your confidence. So please be able to leverage your confidence to the best of your ability. When you pick up that phone, let's say if it's a screening call or you are right live in an interview, speak to these people confidently and politely. So please remember that. Don't be shaky. Don't be afraid to talk about it when they ask you. No, speak to them confidently, because your confidence will only work for you. All right, that is the first tip. Secondly, you also want to make sure you do your research before walking into that interview. do your research to understand what the company is, the scale that the company is paying for the role you're interviewing for. It's really important. You cannot even walk into an interview without researching on the role that you're interviewing for. And salary expectations should also be a big part of your research. There are so many different platforms that you can leverage to at least have an idea of what this company is capable of paying for the role you're interviewing for. For example, Glassdoor. You can leverage Glassdoor, LinkedIn, PayScale. What's the other one? So Indeed.com. Those are some of the platforms that you can go and you will be able to get some information or have some idea about the salary expectation not the salary expectation, what the company is capable of paying for this role that you're interviewing for. And then also, if you have friends, family members that currently work for that organization, ask them. At least have some inside information before walking into that interview, so that you have an idea before, and then with that, you'll be able to leverage that information to the best of your ability. That is the second tip. Now, the third thing is, this question is usually asked from two different directions. The first direction is, it may happen that you've already gone through the entire interview. They've not mentioned anything about salary, which to me, I think it's totally wrong. They've not mentioned anything about salary, and at the end of it all, they start wanting to have a conversation with you around salary expectation. Well, in this case, most of the time it's usually a good thing, because when they start, if you've already gone through the interview and then now they want to go in depth about salary expectation, then that's a good sign that they are considering you. They're considering you, as a potential person to keep. That's one thing. And in this case, well, there is a different way to handle it. The other situation is usually during the screening phase, which is that very initial call that you will get, or that very first 30 minutes conference, Zoom meeting, WebEx, or whatever platform they're using that will invite you. And in the process of doing what I call the screening call, salary expectation is usually part of that conversation. In this case, what they are doing is they are looking to eliminate. They are looking to eliminate candidate for the most part. They are looking, even though they usually call it, they are trying to make sure you fit. You fit with what they are looking for. But for the most part, imagine if, let's say for a very popular company, they put out a job application out there, or a job poster out there, and then they have almost 1,000, 2,000 people applying for that role. What do you think will happen? They will shortlist people, and then in the process of elimination, that's why they're asking this question. And they're asking this question to see, so I see this as they're asking this question to assess your level of leadership and your level of experience. And then secondly, to assess if what they have as budget is what you are okay with. You see, in the case where they are looking to assess your level of confidence and experience, I think I've already handled that when I talked about confidence. If you go the way you will have this conversation, they can easily tell if you are an experienced professional or not, and with that, they will be able to make their decision if they should be eliminating you or not. So pay attention to that. On the other hand, they are looking to assess to see if you fit what the budget, the approved budget for this role is. You see, that is the reason why they're asking this question. It all boils down to elimination. That is why they're asking this question usually during the screening phase. Now, our focus for today is assuming that it is this question is asked during the screening phase. That is what we'll be handling today. Now, in a situation where they come up with this question, they are doing all the screening questions, and then now the interviewer is asking you, what are your salary expectations? How are you going to address this question? First of all, this is what I need you to understand. When they ask me this question, I will put it back to them. I would hardly ever want to be the first person to talk about this question. And the reason is because especially if you've not done your research. If you've not done your research, or maybe if you've done some research and you were not able to find any information about what this company offers for this role, so that is tricky. So if I'm asked this question, the way I go about it is I'm going to put it back to them. Let's say if they ask me this question, I'm going to say something like, if you tell me what the approved budget for this role is, I will let you know if it meets my expectations. So your approach of talking about this also really matters a whole lot. So in some cases, when you say this, some interviewers will be like, okay, this is the budget that has been approved for this role. They can either give you a straight number, or they can give you a range. For the most case, they will give you a range. And then if the range meets your expectations, if that's what you're expecting, if you're okay with it, you can just go ahead and say something like, okay, that works for me, But this is one thing I would like to tell you all. Hardly ever will an HR person or a recruiter tell you upfront everything that has been approved, the higher scale of that budget, because what they are doing is they are looking to save money. That is their job. They were hired to do that, to save money, So hardly ever, they will always leave something on the table. So hardly ever will I just say, that's fine with me, without attempting to negotiate. So the way I usually handle this is, if I ask that question and then they give me a range, I'm going to nicely ask them, is there a room for negotiation around this in the process of during this whole interview process? Will there be a room for negotiation? And they will tell you if there is a room for negotiation. And these are the things that they're expecting you to do, and which is what proves that you have experience. You know what you're talking about. You are confident in your skills and you're confident in your capabilities. So I'm gonna tell them, so once they tell me that you should be able to negotiate, and the range that they've given me, it's okay with me, and then we will just I'm gonna say something like, oh yeah, okay, that's fine with me, But if they expect me to negotiate right there and there, because according to what they usually say, they will say something like, well, I need to know what you're expecting right now, because I want to be sure, because we have other people we are talking to, and we want to know what we are capable, if we can afford you or not. In that case, based on the information they've provided, that we can negotiate right there, and they will go ahead and start negotiating. So if it's a case where I have to negotiate right there and there, I can say something like, especially if they've not given every detail about the job description, I can say something like, well, I'm not going to give a straight number. That is the secret. Do not give a fixed figure number. Do not. The risk with this is, if you give a fixed figure number, what if you give a number that is below what they're actually able to offer? You're losing. And at the same time, what if you give that range and it's way above what they are capable of affording? You will be eliminated. You see. So the secret to successfully negotiate your way around, without putting yourself in a tight spot to risk being eliminated, or to risk leaving some coins on the table, is that do not give a fixed number. I would rather give a range based on the information that I've learned during my research, or what they have told me as what the company, the approved budget for the position is. I'm going to stay within a range. And at the same time, when I'm staying within the range, let's say, for example, I can say something like, well, I'm very flexible with based on the market rate, and I know that your company has high integrity to compensate people based on their worth. I am also really flexible around anything between 120,000, really based on your desire, 120,000 to 170,000, something like that, and depending on the details of the role. That is really what this whole thing is all about. It really depends on the details of the role, especially if you're talking about salary when you don't have a full understanding of the details of the role. In this case, the first thing I would rather do, though, is first seek to understand, to have a conversation about the details of the role, so that you know what you're getting yourself into, and then you negotiate your way around that. You also don't want to go accept a role without having a full understanding of the details, and then now you go there, you're not happy. There's just no way you'll be able to put in your best because you feel cheated and all of that. So yes, that is how I'm going to handle this situation. Negotiate my way around, giving a range, not giving a fixed number. That is critical. And also letting them know that depending on the details of the role, when they ask you this question, what are your salary expectations? And then, just like I have guided, you put the question back to them so that they can throw the very first ball, and they put it back to you. They say something like, most of the time, especially if they're recruiters, they'll say something like, well, they didn't really give us any budget, any approved budget. So that is why it is important that as part of the requirement, you will have to tell us what your expectations are so that we can take it back to the hiring manager. You see, that's just a strategy. Hardly ever will organizations put a role out there without an approved budget, So, but again, if they insist on you throwing the first ball, you cannot also be so tight to say, no, I'm not going to, there should be some approved budget. I'm not going to throw the first ball. You cannot also do that. So that is where your knowledge from the research you did comes into play, you see. So now, based on what you learned about the role, on what the company is capable of offering, you again stay within the range. I would put the range out there, and again also say that depending on the details of the role. Now, what if in the process of you trying to do research to have some idea about what the company is offering for the role, and you were not able to find any information? Because that also, it happens all the time. How would you handle this situation? If you find yourself in that situation, that's when I will go by the market rate. Again, I will let them know that, because at the end of the day, even though money is really important, and it's important that you talk about it, at the same time, it shouldn't only be the basis of you making a decision about the role, especially if you are still looking for that opportunity to get your foot into the door of this career path. Money shouldn't be your primary focus, even though it's important, like I said, but it shouldn't be your primary focus. So now let's assume that it's a situation where you were not able to find any information out there regarding what the company is capable of offering. In this case, I'm going to go with the market rate, because generally every profession has the average baseline market rate of what they are paying for the role generally. For example, if it's an agile role, I'm going to be talking about, what the average rate for agile practitioners are. Let me give you this for free. Anything from $100,000, that to me, that should be the base, the list that an agile practitioner should be taking. Anything from $100,000 should be the base. So I'm going to start from there and then give a range still. I'm not going to give a fixed number, again, for the reason that I just explained earlier. Giving a range, and then also again letting them know that depending on the details of the role, so that you can always leave some space to negotiate. Because again, I continue to emphasize that hardly ever will an HR person or a recruiter give you the higher range, the topmost number on what the company is capable of paying, because that's their job. They are there for HR people. They are there to help the company save money. Meanwhile, recruiters are there to make money. That's their business. They are not for you. They are looking after their own self. So please pay attention. So in a nutshell, that's really how I would address this salary negotiation piece. Now, most importantly, it all boils down to you staying prepared. It's very, very, very important. Just like you will practice let's say if you're going to do a presentation, you prepare and practice your flow and your sequencing in your presentation. Is the same thing you will have to do with your salary negotiation conversation. There is something I call salary negotiation pitch. You should have like a canvas of your negotiation pitch. Make sure you practice your negotiation pitch so that it comes across natural when you're talking about it, and that also has something to do with your confidence, you see. But if you are not prepared and then you just come across like you were not ready to have that kind of conversation, again, it will affect your confidence as you speak on this, and you may likely be cheated. And at the same time, you may come across as someone who doesn't have experience, and nobody will want to keep someone who they already perceive as not having experience. So just like you will prepare for every other question in your interview, you also want to prepare for, have your salary negotiation pitch. Prepare and make sure you are able to flow seamlessly and organize your thoughts, your words in your head. And there is no better way to do that than writing everything down. Okay, so that's going to be it for this video, and I hope this was helpful. In the future, I may get to discuss on a situation where you are in the position to negotiate after the interview has happened. We will be making a video on that in the coming days. And again, if you have any contribution to make or your story on how you've negotiated, please drop your thoughts in the comment section, and let us continue to learn and grow together in this amazing, beautiful agile space. Thank you so much, and have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.